Welcome to the I AMU podcast. I am your host, Dr. Nitza Alvarez, a board-certified cardiologist and best-selling author. My hope with this podcast is to share stories so women can speak up and become the CEO of their own health. I am a cardiologist. I am a wife. I am a mother. My story is your story. I am you. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I AMU podcast. Today, I am delighted to have here as a guest Miss Patty Nowicki. Welcome, Patty.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarez. It's so great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting the invitation. You know that not every woman is courageous enough to come up front of the microphone and share their stories, particularly in the healthcare journey. And part of the mission of this podcast is to invite them to feel okay speaking about their healthcare problems, to speak up and to not to stop. I want the woman that will listen to your story today to relate to your story. And
Absolutely.
Patty, you're a young woman. You are pretty healthy, no? What actually makes you decide to go and seek care from a cardiologist?
I have a family history of heart problems. And while I have not experienced anything myself, just looking at my grandmother, whose 4 older sisters died of heart attacks, and then my mother's sister died of a heart attack at 40, and her brothers had a couple heart attacks, I just felt like I needed to get checked and get a baseline and see where I am.
Valuable to know the family history then.
Yes,
Would
valuable.
you said that if you didn't know mom, uncles, grandma will have a problem, would you even
I never
think
would have
about
thought
heart
of it.
disease?
Never would have thought about it at all. And I was pushing 60 at the time when I first went for my own appointment with you. I'm almost 61 now, but I'm thinking, how long am I going to wait until I figure this out? And I just didn't want to do that anymore.
So knowing the history, but also not wanting to fall victim of the same condition that your family members did.
Exactly.
No? So when you're looking at,
Exactly.
okay, so I have so many family members with heart disease, and what can I do different so I don't follow their steps, so I
Exactly.
don't fall the same path? Then let me just be proactive and see if there is a train that I can hold here. What can I do today?
Right. And while my mom is still fine and she's 87, no heart problems, but I was like, who knows? She had 4 aunts that died of heart attacks. Maybe it skipped her and it went to me.
So after you went into and got checked, and
Yes.
how valuable is a preventive care for a woman like you?
Oh, it was wonderful. The simple things that you taught me about just drinking every day and making sure
Water.
you're
Let's
hydrating
clarify
yourself.
it's
Yes,
water.
drinking water. Absolutely. Drinking water every day. And just simple things that I noticed, like if I had an early doctor appointment with one of my other providers and they would do the pulse ox and I'd be low, they're like, take a sip of water. And I'm like, that's right. I didn't drink enough this morning because it was an early appointment. And I was like, learning from you that was something that would just make a difference, and something like your pulse ox. It was just so valuable.
So you feel that it was educational for you?
Absolutely.
What about the information that you gathered from the evaluation? Sometimes it's reassuring. Not necessarily I think that actually one of the things that our listeners should understand is that not only we don't have to wait until we're sick to seek medical attention, but also when you're doing for preventive
Yes.
care, doesn't necessarily need to be to find something wrong. And sometimes I think about why do we have so much resistance to get checked? Sometimes I feel that people don't want to get checked, like they were afraid that we're going to find something. But in cases like yours, it's like,
Right.
okay, so we can do an evaluation just to ensure that everything is okay.
Exactly. Because believe me, I was hoping you did not find anything. I didn't want to have to say, oh no, I have this now. I wanted it to come back that everything's okay.
Yeah, so when you went there for, okay, I want to know, number one.
Yes.
And number 2 is, I want to know that I'm okay. So
Exactly.
that offers you that peace in your heart that it's not
Yes.
that I just feel okay, it's that I know I'm okay.
Absolutely I'm okay. And now I have a baseline. So we have someplace to go. So if something were to happen later in the future, you can go back and look, what was it like in whatever it was when I saw you? And then compared to this point in time in the future, and you'll see the difference.
So a baseline
Yes.
super valuable, no?
Absolutely.
For everything. Like when we are in the weight loss journey, where did I start it, where I am? When I start walking and I get short of breath, now I'm capable to do it longer. So for you, it was like, okay, this is actually super valuable that you're sharing with our listeners. If you have a baseline, you know where to move from there.
Exactly.
No? In the future, that we can make reference to that. Are we improving? Are we getting worse? And then also, I think that the peace of mind that offers, don't you agree that knowing that you're okay is such a good peace of mind?
Absolutely. You wake up every day knowing I'm okay. And then if something were to feel different, I can say, let's go back and get this checked because now something has changed.
Exactly. You know, we have, in the practice, I always say you don't know until you know. And so many times you have people that had good health check, and I think that we all can relate that we know somebody, or we have heard of somebody that supposedly their check was normal, and then they're no longer with us. And when you look back and you said, okay, so how did that person die unexpectedly? And it's like, well, we don't know, because the checkups were always so superficial. Like, oh, you look good. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Let me listen to you. Out of here. And sometimes
they never saw a specialist.
Or they didn't even got the proper screening that they needed to make sure that they were okay.
Exactly.
So what would you say to the women that are listening to us that feel like, oh, but why do I need to see a specialist? Or why do I have to see? Okay, because remember, we're sitting here today because heart disease killed more women than anything. Like it's the #1 killer. We're not sitting here just to discuss a random topic. Is our #1 killer. So what would you tell the woman that is listening to this podcast about the importance of preventive care?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's better to know. Information is so powerful. It is. There's really no other way to say it. It's that simple.
You can sleep better.
Yes, exactly. Then you can sleep better. Exactly.
So then we don't have to be scared about every single thing that we feel in a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. And sleeping is good, because you said that too. Sleeping is very important for our heart health.
Yes.
You want to get a good night's sleep.
I love it.
I try to remember everything you say. I really do.
You know, when it comes to preventive care, there's so many things that we can do. And I think that that's actually what gives us so much value to not only understanding with the test. Unfortunately, the system that we practice today don't call for routine tests for heart disease, for screening for heart disease in women. We are moving in a system that is old school. And then you look back and say, but what are we doing different? Why is it still so bad? Why are the statistics so outrageous? And then we said, well, because we're trying to solve the problem with the same formula. No? And then when you think about it, that's what we're here today. No, it's like, okay, what we're doing today is not working. We got to change it. Okay, can we find those patients a little earlier? Not 64% of the women that have a heart attack, before the heart attack, they claim that they didn't have no symptoms. So if we would have evaluated them, could we have known that they have a heart problem and then prevent their heart attack? And that is the idea of what we're discussing today. No,
it sounds wonderful to me. It's like, just hearing that, it should make everybody want to run right out and see their heart specialist. I mean, really, it's like knowing that many people die and it could have been prevented.
As fast as they go for the mammograms, no?
I know, because really. But how long did it take to convince women to go for the mammograms?
And more than convincing, how long did it took the system to pay for those mammograms?
This is true, too.
Because the mammograms were not part of our own general health screening every year. It was not even recommended, nor was it paid for. And then, like I said, okay, so if we are proactive with breast cancer, we are proactive with cancer in women, why are we not as proactive or even more, knowing that heart disease claimed the life of many women, that all cancers combined? No, so I agree with you. It's like, yes, the idea is that can we get evaluated? Can we get evaluated in a timely manner? Particularly about those statistics that I just shared with you. So it's a no-brainer for you and me. But this is what we're trying to do, to make it a no-brainer for every woman that think about your heart and take it seriously. Because if you want to be here for you want to be here for your parents. Some of us, many of us are caregivers. If you want to be here for your kids, if you want to see them graduate. You know, I use the statement that I said, and I repeat this so many times because as a mother, I can relate to this. We will say, I will do anything for my kids. I will do anything for my kids. And then I said, oh, I will die for my kids. Because a mother will be willing to die.
Absolutely.
And I said, well, will you live for them? So if you said,
Oh, I like that.
I will do anything for my kids. Anything means you got to take care of you.
And now I have grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I have to be there for them too.
Yes. And then the joy that brings, you know?
Yes,
so we want to
absolutely.
be, and then not only being present, because being present is important, but being present feeling good. Being fully present, being
Absolutely.
physically present, be able to play with them, be able to do everything that you want to do with them. Now, as I met you because you serve a very special population in our community, which is deaf patients. And that's how we actually came across you, because you serve those
Yes,
patients
exactly.
and you are already an advocate. You're already an advocate for patients as you are helping them being able to communicate with their doctors. So through your journey, you have been in so many different offices, no?
I have.
And you have seen providers all different kinds and qualities, different specialties. And so you have a very good variety of what healthcare look like in
Yes.
different settings. Now,
Absolutely.
what is your ideal setting? What is it that after going through many doctors, when you decide to pick a doctor, what is that you look on them? Give us at least 3 criteria that you said that if you were to share, I think that these 3 qualities on that provider are important.
Okay.
And why?
I think it is really important for the provider to connect with the patient and to have an interest in the patient beyond just whatever their specialty is. My favorite are the providers that say, well, what else do you do? What do you like to do for fun? What else is going on in your life? Just an extra minute or so, just to show that interest in the patient. And that's what makes me, like when I would go and have a job with one provider and the patient's in and out and that's it, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to see that doctor as a patient myself, because it just didn't connect with me. And so let's see, you asked for 3 and I said 2. And I think the quality of the doctor too, knowing their background and education and basically their track record, like a referral for them. You guys give us referrals all the time. Well, we'd like to have a referral from another friend that says this doctor's really good. And so that's another thing that I look for.
That's awesome. And I hope that the women that are listening to us are taking notes about it, because I feel that although it's important that your doctor has good credentials.
Yes.
You know, that's why we have agencies that ensure that we are prepared to care for you, that being in a physician-patient relationship, it takes more than just the preparation that you have, and the connection with the patient is important.
Exactly.
And we have a lot of our women that are still going to the same place over and over, even though they don't feel hurt in there,
Exactly.
just because this is the assigned doctor. No, so I thank you for sharing that with us, and I want to invite our audience to just try to question themselves. You know, like maybe they should actually make their own 3-item list of what is it that I'm looking in a provider. Do I have it right now? And if you don't, then we want to share with them that there is hope, that there are providers there that actually, you can actually attest to that. You know, the fact that you went to this office and you said, I will never want this doctor to be my provider.
Exactly.
But then you've been in another office that you're like, oh, I would love, if I had to pick a
Exactly.
doctor, this will be my doctor.
And I just say to people to go with your gut too, because we as women know, you know when you go to a doctor's appointment, if the doctor is really interested in you or if he's thinking about what he's going to do after lunch. And just go with your gut. If it feels that way, or if you've gone several times and you're not getting answers, find another doctor and ask a friend. Everybody has friends, and you can always ask other friends, well, have you ever seen this type of doctor? Do you like your doctor? You know, and get advice from them as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before we leave this podcast today, I would like to invite Patty to show us how to say I AMU in sign language. Patty?
I AMU.
Yay! I thank you, Patty, for being here
Thank
today.
you so much.
Thank
It was
you for
wonderful.
taking charge of your health. And
Thank you.
Thank you for being an advocate for so many that need that connection with us, but they cannot speak up.
Thank you.
Okay.
This was a pleasure.
This takes us to an end of another episode of I AMU. Thank you for joining us today. I hope this episode has empowered you to be the CEO of your own health. Tune into our next episode, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at NITZAMD. To explore more on this and related topics, visit our website, NITZAMD.com. If this episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe. And one more thing, share with the wonderful woman in your life.